In this video, I'll show you how to sew the puffin pencil drop top from start to finish. Before we start sewing, make sure all your pattern pieces are cut out and that you've transferred all notches and reference markings to your fabric. All seam allowances in this pattern are 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch unless I mention something else. Start by finishing the raw edges with a zigzag stitch or an overlocker or serger. Now we'll create the ruched detail along the side seams. On both the front and back pieces, sew 2 rows of gathering stitches between the reference mark under the arm and the reference mark near the hem. Increase your stitch length to the longest setting and sew the first row 0.5 centimeters or 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Do not backstitch. Sew the second row 1.5 centimeters or half an inch from the edge, and do not backstitch this either. Leave long thread tails at both ends, and now gently pull the bobbin threads to gather the fabric. Distribute the gathers evenly until the ruched section measures 15 centimeters or 6 inches in length. Once you're happy with the distribution, set your stitch length back to normal and sew between the 2 gathering rows about 0.7 centimeters or 1/4 of an inch from the edge to secure the gathers in place. Carefully remove the visible gathering stitches afterwards. Repeat this on both side seams. Place the back piece right side up. Place the front piece on top, right side down. On the left side seam, sew from the armpit down to the top reference mark. Then sew again from the bottom reference mark down to the hem. Between the 2 reference marks, sew with a long stitch length. This is a temporary seam that will open later. Press the seam allowance open carefully all the way from the armpit down to the hem. Now take your invisible zipper. Place it face down on top of the pressed seam allowance. The zipper slider should sit exactly below the top reference mark. The center of the zipper teeth should align with the seam line. Pin it in place or use Wonder Tape if you prefer. Before sewing with the machine, I really recommend basting the zipper by hand. Use long stitches and sew only through the seam allowance, not through the outer fabric. Once the zipper is basted, carefully open the temporary seam behind it from the top reference mark down to the bottom reference mark. Be careful not to open the stitching below the mark. Now unzip the zipper fully. Attach your zipper foot to the sewing machine. If you have an invisible zipper foot, you can use that, but a regular zipper foot works perfectly fine too. Set your needle all the way to the left. Start with the right side of the zipper. Fold the fabric slightly out of the way so you're only sewing through the zipper tape and the seam allowance. As you sew, gently roll the zipper coil away from the needle so you can stitch as close to the teeth as possible. Sew from the top reference mark down to the bottom reference mark. Now move to the other side of the zipper. Set your needle all the way to the right and repeat the process. When both sides are sewn, close the zipper and check it from the right side. The seam should align smoothly and the zipper should disappear into the fabric. If everything looks good, secure the extra zipper tape at the bottom with a few back stitches, and trim any excess if needed. Switch back to your regular presser foot and move the needle back to the center. With the right sides together, sew the remaining side seam from the armpit all the way down to the hem. Now sew the shoulder seams on both sides, right sides together. You'll notice the pattern has small sharp corners. These help the edges lie flat once folded. Cut a small snip into the seam allowance at each corner. This allows the fabric to spread slightly and fold smoothly. Press the seams open. Next, we'll hem the bottom edge. Fold the hem up by 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch. Press it flat and sharp. Sew from the right side 1.5 centimeters or half an inch from the edge all the way around. Now we'll finish the neckline and sleeve edges. Fold the neckline and sleeve edges 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch to the inside. Press well. Sew from the right side 1.5 centimeters or half an inch from the edge all the way around the neckline and sleeves. And that's it, your drop top is finished. We'd love to see what you make, so don't forget to tag us and use the hashtag #PPDrop.